So, hello everyone. Welcome to another Sunday Zoom meeting and another podcast episode. If you're listening to the podcast, watching on YouTube, and you want to learn more about the podcast, about our online community, about getting involved with these meetings, check out the website, which is www.acimwithkeith.com. You can also find information on paid private mentoring with myself if it interests you. And yes, I am way behind on correspondence, but I promise I'm going to catch up this week. So let's get on with the meeting. And as ever, let's begin with some quotes from A Course in Miracles. And let's begin with this one. So this is from chapter 5, section 2, paragraph 7. The voice of the Holy Spirit does not command, because it is incapable of arrogance. It does not demand, because it does not seek control. It does not overcome, because it does not attack. It merely reminds. It is compelling only because of what it reminds you of. It brings to your mind the other way, remaining quiet, even in the midst of the turmoil you may make. So, this is the other way. This is A Course in Miracles. And we want to talk about what that means today. Um, let's take this quote from chapter 29, section 5, paragraph 1. There is a place in you where this whole world has been forgotten, where no memory of sin and of illusion lingers still. There is a place in you which time has left, and echoes of eternity are heard. There is a resting place so still, no sound except a hymn to heaven rises up to gladden God the Father and the Son. Now, I want to make this very clear. That place is shining in your mind right now. It's already here. Nothing needs to change about your current experience for this place in you that remembers perfect stillness to be known. Nothing ever, ever has to change for you to remember this place. Know this place that remembers perfect peace. To know this place which is outside of time. Because time is just a thought. Course in Miracles tells us that salvation can be seen as nothing more than the escape from concepts. This place in you that's shining in your mind right now, in every moment, that's shining in the world, because it's one, it's already here, right now. But it's not a thought. It's not a thought. It's not an object. There is no difference between the noticer and the noticed. You get to be the place that remembers perfect peace. It's what you already are. There's a delusion that you think you're thinking concepts. No matter how strong the delusion is that you are a thinker of thoughts, actually, You are this peace, always. It can be veiled from you by identification with thoughts. It can be veiled from you. It cannot be extinguished. It cannot change. It's already here, right now, in this moment. It's just not a thought. You can't go looking for it as an object. What you're looking for is what is looking. And it's already here. So let's take another quote. And this is from lesson 189. Simply do this. Be still and lay aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is. All concepts you've learned about the world, all images you hold about yourself. Empty your mind of everything it thinks is either true or false, or good or bad, of every thought it judges worthy, and all the ideas of which it is ashamed. Hold on to nothing. Do not bring with you one thought the past has taught, nor one belief you ever learned before from anything. Forget this world, forget this course, and come with wholly empty hands unto your God. Thoughts are nothing. Nothing. Identification with thoughts is veiling from you that you are already resting in God. You are the place that remembers perfect peace. You're just misidentifying with thoughts. You think you're thinking. You think you're a self that's thinking thoughts. That self doesn't exist. Lesson 93. The self you made out of thoughts is not the Son of God. Therefore, this self does not exist at all. And nothing it seems to think or say means anything. It is neither bad nor good. It is unreal and nothing more than that. You have a story in your mind about who you are. It's just made out of thoughts. It's a whole big house of cards. You have a past and you have a future, and you were victimized, and you have a terrifying future ahead of you, and you're an innocent victim, and people should do this and people shouldn't do that, and this is right and this is wrong, and this means this and this means that. Virtual reality world made out of thoughts. Doesn't exist. And yours is different than everyone else's. We each live in a personal hell, where the real world, what is, what's already here, all things working together for good, um, where that's not known. You're not you're not having a direct experience of what's here, the real world. Instead, you're interacting with your thoughts about the world as though the thought is the real world. So all that's here is images. They don't mean anything. They have no past or future. It's just what's apparently happening. It doesn't mean anything. And you have a whole set of thoughts in your mind that this image means this and this image means that, and this one is good and this one is wrong. And you're using thoughts to make up a self for yourself out of thoughts, which is not you. And as soon as you do that, you look out at the real world that's already here, which is all things working together for good, which is the light of the world appearing as everything, and you're making up selves for everyone else. None of the selves are true. None of them. They're just thoughts. So there appears to be here a belief in separateness and the making of a self out of thoughts. See? And then there appears to be with you a belief in separateness and a making of a self up out of thoughts. And then as soon as you do that, you make up a self for me out of thoughts about what I am. And neither the self that I have appeared to make up for myself, nor the self you have made up for me is true. They're thoughts. The self I'm making up for myself does not exist. It's a house of cards made of thoughts. The minute thoughts stop, that personality's gone. That whole self no longer exists. It's just based on thoughts. So the self you've made up for me is not the Son of God. And the self I make up for myself is not the Son of God. And the self I make up for you is not the Son of God. It's just thoughts. All that's here is the Son of God. All that's here is the light of the world. Pure presence. Everything else is thoughts. Lesson number 1. Nothing I see means anything at all. There you go. There's just images. Okay, they don't mean anything. Lesson number 2. I've given all that I see all the meaning that it has for me. And now I live in a virtual reality world made of thoughts that think they know what everything is for and what's good and what's bad and what's right and what's wrong. And I make up a self for myself as the center of this private, personal, virtual world made out of thoughts. And that's hell. None of it's real. It's all made out of thoughts. The minute thoughts stop, that all goes away. The world doesn't mean anything. Okay? The self you made up for me doesn't exist. The self you made up for yourself doesn't exist. It's thoughts. What does lesson 4 say? These thoughts do not mean anything. They're like the things I see that mean nothing at all. That's why salvation can be seen as nothing more than the escape from concepts. There is just what is apparently happening right now in this moment. It has no past or future. There is no self and other. There is no time. There is no past or future. There is no space. You're projecting all of that onto the real world, and none of it's true. None of it's true. All made up. And we're all living in different worlds. As you know, in America, very recently, everyone's living in a different world. Everything means something different. Different things are good and different things are bad. Of Course in Miracles says no two egos see sin in the same place. Because it's not there. You're putting it there with thoughts. It's not there. There's just images that mean nothing. All that's true of your brother is the pure light of presence without a past or future. That's all that's true. That's all that's true. Everything else you're making up with thoughts. That's not what's here. That's not what's in your brother. Your brother has a changelessness in him beyond appearance and deception both. It is obscured by changing views of him that you perceive as his reality. It's not his reality. You perceive yourself as the changing mind. That's not your reality. You are changelessness. That's what you are. Changelessness. Right now, that's the truth of you. Everything else is just thoughts that don't mean anything. Lesson 52. I have no private thoughts. That it's only private thoughts of which I am aware. What can they mean? They do not exist and they mean nothing. Nothing. What thoughts in your mind mean nothing? What are you? That's not a thought. You're already that. No matter how much it seems like you're drowning in thoughts and believing thoughts and thinking you're thinking them, that self that's apparently here thinking thoughts separate from everyone else, who is the changing contents of the mind, that's not here. That self doesn't exist. That's not in your brother. That's not in you. That's a virtual reality world made of thoughts. What if they stopped? What if you could be without thoughts? Well, you can. And you already are what is outside of thoughts. So it's like Rumi said, out beyond thoughts of right and wrong, thoughts, out beyond thoughts of right and wrong, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When you are that field already, you just keep identifying with thoughts and thinking you're the one that's thinking them. But there's no one there thinking them, they're just thoughts. You are the field. It's a field of pure presence. It is utterly independent of thought, utterly independent of thought and thinking. Right now, you are the field that is ultimately, totally, right now, untouched by thought. It's what you are right now. You can't go grasping at it. You can't go looking for it as an object. You can't go thinking it's a thought you can interact with thoughts. No, no, it's outside of thoughts, in behind all the thoughts. There's a field that you are, that everyone is, where there's no tiny mad idea, none, no separateness, totally undivided. It's already here. It's already what you are. It's in your mind right now. You just keep overlooking it to think you're thinking, and that your thoughts make a powerful contribution to the truth and make it what it is. They do not. They are veiling the truth from you, which is already here. You don't have to establish it. You don't have to merit it. You don't have to strive for it. You don't have to do something to put it here. It's already here. It's already what you are. You're just believing your thoughts. That's all. It's already here. Maybe when I'm talking, you go, oh, I can feel a peace in my mind, but not a lot more. But are you separate from that peace? Or is it what you are? If you don't believe your thoughts, if you don't jump back into them, what are you outside of thoughts? You already are that. You get there by realizing you're already there, not by trying to get there. You relax back into this. You let go of identification with thoughts and you relax back into a beingness that's already here. You don't have to fight thoughts. You don't have to stop them. You don't have to change them. Totally forgive them, and you're there. Already. Right now. Stillness. Presence. Right now, that's who you are. But you might be noticing that as I point you towards this place, you get antsy. You get restless. It's like there is this temptation to jump like a scalded cat back into thoughts. So I'm saying there's a silence in your mind that you are. It's there right now. Stay there. Stay there. What has thought ever done for you? Absolutely nothing. Don't get involved in thoughts. Let them do what they're doing. Don't get involved in them. Don't believe them. What are you that's not a thought? Stay there. Stay there. Stay where you already are. But notice there's there's a fear, there's an anxiety, there's a restlessness that just wants to jump back into thoughts, not stay here in the silence, not stay here as presence. It's like, oh, there's something a bit scary about this. I don't know if I'm ready for this. He shouldn't really be making us do this. I just want to be titillated with nice information about A Course in Miracles. I don't really want to be doing all this practice. I'm not ready for it. You might have a voice going, if you go much further than this, you'll die. Your life will be over. You'll be useless. You'll be a crap mother. You'll be a crap grandmother. You'll be no use to anyone. Don't go into the silence. Don't go into the quiet center. Back out and have thoughts about it. Make judgments on it. Turn it into a concept. Oh, this is like that time in the past. Can't believe it. Great. That's just a thought. Just a thought. That's not you. Get there by realizing you're already here. But you're going to encounter the outer ring of fear, the mind's defenses, the ego's defenses. If you come into the quiet center, it's the beginning of the end of your ego. Don't worry, you will not be lifted up and hurled into reality prematurely, kicking and screaming. But if you come outside of identifying with thoughts, outside of taking them seriously, if you're a witness to thoughts without getting involved in them, they're just thoughts. They don't mean anything. You're not a thought. What are you? What's here that's not a thought? It's already here. Don't go looking for it. It's here. Stay here. Doesn't matter what the other mind is doing. You have two. Doesn't matter what the insane mind is shouting about and giving its opinion. That's not you. This is you. This place that remembers perfect peace. You are this. Don't mind your thoughts. You're already this. You've just been drowning in thoughts, apparently. You don't have to. You can just forgive them, and you're already here in the Holy Spirit. And what you are here is what I am, is what everyone is. Not changing. Thoughts are changing. Thoughts are coming in, dancing in front of this presence and dancing out. And presence isn't dancing. It's here before every thought that arrives. And it's here after every thought that falls away. And emotions come in and they dance in front of presence and they dance out. And presence isn't dancing. Here before every emotion that arises, and it's here after they've subsided. Untouched. And sensations come in and they dance in front of the presence that you are, and they dance out. And presence isn't dancing. It's unchanging. It's here before every object of experience that arises and after it subsides. This is who you are. The field. Outside thoughts of good and bad and right and wrong, there is a field. Outside all thoughts, you are this field. It's what you are now. Maybe the outside ring of fear means that you keep jumping like a scalded cat out, back into thoughts. That's not unusual. But what if you just be? And what if fear is here? What if restlessness is here? And what if you just be with it? It will dissolve before you, who are this presence, this one light of the world that everyone is. So stay there. And let's take something beautiful from the Course to have you stay there. Don't worry about thoughts. They're going to come and go and dance in front of you. That's not you. They have no effect on you. You are totally independent of every single thought that arises in your mind. You are qualified and limited by none of them. You are changeless. Right now. Always. You've always been this. To do anything involves the body. And if you recognize you need do nothing, you have withdrawn the body's value from your mind. Here is the quick and open door through which you slip past centuries of effort and escape from time. Time is thoughts. If you're not listening to your thoughts, you're not believing your thoughts, does time exist? Can time exist? Can there be anything except now without thoughts? There's no time. Time is thoughts. What does time have to do with you who are outside of thoughts, who thoughts cannot soil? To continue, this is the way in which sin loses all attraction right now. For here is time denied and past and future gone. If you're not listening to your thoughts, can you have a past and future? Can this presence you are, can it have a past and future without thoughts? No. Stay there. Who needs do nothing has no need for time. Doesn't need to listen to thoughts about past and future. They're just thoughts. They're nothing. To do nothing is to rest. Stay there and make a place within you where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. So right now, I'm here in this field as this presence, and talking takes care of itself. I don't need to get involved in the ego thought system in my mind in order to have a conversation. It takes care of itself. Just like breathing, just like digestion, just like the heart beating. The activity of the body ceases to demand attention. It doesn't have to cause me to leave the quiet center, to forget who I am, to dress myself in thoughts and thinking I'm thinking. And make a place within you where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. Stay there. Why? Because into this place, the Holy Spirit comes and there abides. He will remain when you forget. And the body's activities return to occupy your conscious mind. I'm saying stay here. But the unresolved guilt in your mind is going to make you jump like a scalded cat back into thoughts unconsciously. And then down the road, you'll go, oh my God, I thought I was thinking for the last half hour. Okay, you won't even remember jumping like a scalded cat because it's unconscious. So the Course is acknowledging this. It's saying, listen, that's the quiet center. That's you. You stay there. Don't be listening to your thoughts. Don't be getting involved in them. You don't need them. What have they ever done for you? Nothing. Don't be getting involved in them. Forgive them. Don't fight them. Don't try and change them. Don't do anything with them. Let them be. They've got nothing to do with you. And when you find yourself back thinking you're thinking and that your thoughts are true, you can always come back here to where the Holy Spirit dwells in your mind. So you're making this quiet place. And the Course is saying, and into this place you've made, this silence that you are, the Holy Spirit comes. Because in the beginning, this feels a little bit neutral. There's no choirs of angels singing, no 1812 overture. But there's contentment here. But there's stillness here. But there's peace here that thought can't touch. That past and future, which are just thoughts, can't touch. That's already here, but into this place, the Holy Spirit, who is the symbol for your right-minded self, that is everyone's right-minded self, the Holy Spirit comes. If you keep touching back here into this quiet, into this field, aware of all thoughts, but no thinking's going on here, just presence, just stillness, it will start to glow. And it will tell you of yourself. And it will tell you of all your brothers. And you will be more aware of this quiet center of the storm than all the raging activity. This quiet center in which you do nothing will remain with you, giving you rest in the midst of every busy doing on which you are sent. For from this center will you be directed how to use the body sinlessly. Now, the body sinlessly, we tend to hear something like that and think it's talking about sex. That is not what it's talking about. Sinlessly means not for attack and not to separate, but for communication and forgiveness. It is this center from which the body is absent that will keep it so in your awareness of it. Have you jumped back into thoughts? Do you think you're thinking? Just forgive them. They're just thoughts. What am I that's not a thought? Totally forgive whatever your mind is doing in this moment. Let go all fight with it. And the minute you do, the truth of what you are is here. Quiet center. You just have to catch the thoughts that keep pretending to be you and go, that's just a thought. Let me come back home here outside of thoughts. Let me stay here. Maybe there's a bit of fear here. It's fine. What if it's fine? What if I can be here, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable for a few minutes? I can still be here. I don't have to believe the fearful thoughts, the ego becoming vicious because I'm seeing through it. I don't have to be threatened or afraid of that. What if I stay here? What if I rest here, even if it's a little uncomfortable, and not jump back into thinking? Stay there. We ask for rest today and quietness, unshaken by the world's appearances. We ask for peace and stillness in the midst of all the turmoil born of clashing dreams. They can't touch you here. We ask for safety and for happiness, although we seem to look on danger and on sorrow. Might seem like you're looking on it in the world, might seem like you're looking on it in your mind. But you can still have rest. And we have the thought that will answer our asking with what we request. I rest in God. This thought will bring to you the rest and quiet, peace and stillness, and the safety and the happiness you seek right now. Stay there. I rest in God. This thought has the power to wake the sleeping truth in you, whose vision sees beyond appearances to that same truth in everyone and everything there is. Outside of thoughts, what I am is what you are, is what everyone is. Everything else is just a private world, a fictional virtual reality matrix made of thoughts. So to repeat, I rest in God. This thought has the power to wake the sleeping truth in you, this presence, untouched by time, space, thought, whose vision sees beyond appearances to that same truth in everyone and everything there is. Here is the end of suffering for all the world and everyone who ever came and yet will come to linger for a while, here is the thought in which the Son of God is born again to recognize himself. You thought you were what your thoughts were telling you you were. An imaginary self made of thoughts in a world made of thoughts where you're the central character, and it wasn't true. To recognize yourself is to realize what you were before. What are you outside of thoughts and thinking? You are already there. You are already this. Here is the thought in which the Son of God is born again now to recognize himself. I rest in God, completely undismayed. This thought will carry you through storms and strife, past misery and pain. These are thoughts, these are sensations, past loss and death, and onwards to the certainty of God. There is no suffering it cannot heal. Stay here. Stay here where there cannot be suffering. That's only in your thoughts. I can be hurt by nothing but my thoughts. Come outside of your thoughts. You're already here. Thoughts have never had any power over the truth of what you are. The healing here is that what you are has never been wounded. That was an illusion of yourself made of thoughts. There is no problem that it cannot solve. Can there be a problem if you don't think about it? Can there be any problem with this moment if you don't think about it? If you don't believe thoughts? If you don't identify with them? If you forgive them? They're just thoughts. What does that have to do with me? And no appearances of sensations, bodies, thoughts, feelings, stories, a world, and no appearance, but will turn to truth before the eyes of you who rest in God. This is the day of peace. Now, you rest in God. While the world is torn by winds of hate, your rest remains completely undisturbed. What does it have to do with the peace of the Holy Spirit that's already in my mind right now outside of thinking? Yours is the rest of truth. Appearances cannot intrude on you. You call to all to join you in your rest, and they will hear and come to you because you rest in God. Because you know what you are, you know what your brother is. And by you seeing this as the truth of your brother, and by your brother seeing the light of you who rest in God, regardless of thoughts, regardless of the world, regardless of bodies, by your brother seeing this rest in you, he's called back here to his rest. This peace in you this knowing of what you are that thoughts can't touch. It calls to all your brothers who join you here to be what you are with you, as this presence, as this one light of the world that everyone and everything is in the Holy Spirit. They will not hear another voice, thoughts, the insane voice talking to itself in their mind that they thought was them, that has brought them misery and fear and pain, that made them think they were suffering. They will not hear another voice than yours, because you gave your voice to God. And now you rest in Him and let Him speak through you. You don't need to get involved in thoughts. This is the rest. This is the space. This is the presence, the peace from which all words that are required come. Not from thoughts, from rest, from truth. And now you rest in Him and let Him speak through you. Let stillness speak, not the ego's thoughts that pretended to be you. In Him you have no cares and no concerns, no burdens, no anxiety, no pain, no fear of future, no past regrets. They're thoughts. They have no power over you here who rest in God. Let them be. Forgive them being there. What do they have to do with you who rest in God? You who have no past or future. The light of the world that's here, now, already. In timelessness, you rest. There's no time here. You need thoughts for that. You need thoughts to be believed. You need to think you're thinking them. You need to think they're about you. They are not about you. In timelessness, you rest. That just means you exit thinking. You forgive thinking to separate what you are out from it. Timelessness, you rest, while time goes by without its touch upon you. For your rest can never change in any way at all. You rest today. And as you close your eyes, sink into stillness. Don't go looking for stillness. You have to find the stillness that's already here. Forgive. Give up all pushing and pulling on thoughts. Let them be. Stop fighting with them. Forgive them. Give them permission to be there. And what's here? Your rest. The light of the world. Let these periods of rest and respite reassure your mind that all its frantic fantasies were but the dreams of fever that has passed away. Your thoughts were nothing. All the fantasies that thoughts seem to make are nothing. They've had no effect here. Let it be still and thankfully accept its healing. No more fearful dreams will come now that you rest in God. The whole dream of separateness, sin, guilt, fear, pain is a virtual reality world made of thoughts that cannot touch you. Now you remember what you are that rests in God. That's not a thinker. That needs do nothing. You get here by realizing you were here all along. It was just thoughts, and they mean nothing. No more fearful dreams will come now that you rest in God. Take time to slip away from dreams, thoughts, the world thoughts seem to make, and into peace. Stay there. Stay there. Course in Miracles makes no sense until you understand this is the Son of God. Now you understand. The Course says you've only ever one problem. No matter what problem you think you have, there's just one. You don't know what you are that rests in God. You think you're an ego. You think you're thinking. You think your thoughts are true. You think you're suffering because you're living in a virtual reality world made of thoughts. Your own personal hell. And so there's one solution to every problem. Undo your misidentification as an ego and come home to rest in God, where there's no problem, ever. And for that, you have the miracle. And the miracle is quite simply, you look at the problem the way it is and not the way you're setting it up. My ego is saying the reason I'm upset is because of how that person spoke to me and how they made me feel. No, it's not. That's not you. You rest in God. Your only problem is that you think you can suffer. You think you can lack. You think you can need. You think the world has power over you. That's delusion. You don't know you rest in God always. But the miracle takes you home here. All that's asked is you look on the problem the way it is. I'm choosing to be an ego. I'm choosing to believe my thoughts. I'm choosing to believe in myself as a separate self that's different from everyone else. And my suffering is excruciating. And now I'm blaming the world for the pain caused by my decision to not rest in God. I thought I was better off on my own, imagining myself the self made out of thoughts in the world I've made out of thoughts, and me the central character, the innocent victim of all the guilty ones out there. My only problem is that I'm deluded. I don't know what rests in God, and the pain is terrible. And I want to blame something outside of me. And the miracle says, all you have to do is look at the error. What's the error? I'm choosing to be an ego. I'm choosing to believe in a self made out of thoughts. I'm choosing to deny what I am that rests in God. That's the error. And the Course says you look at that and you don't judge yourself. You totally forgive that. You stop fighting with thoughts that are pretending to be you. You surrender to all the madness the mind is doing, the private world that it's manufacturing, the self that you're not, that it seems to be making. You surrender to it. You forgive it. You look on it with no judgment. You don't label it. And what's here? What does forgiveness establish you are? Brings you home to rest in God. The ego can't look at anything without an opinion, without thoughts, without judgments, without a label. What looks on the unforgiving thing with total forgiveness cannot be the unforgiving thing. It is you who rest in God. It is this presence that you are, not a separate self that was made out of thoughts. And now you can share this with your brother. That's the miracle. That's the miracle. And everything that comes from here will be guided and helpful and useful and effective, and you'll have no investment in it for your happiness. The only happiness you will ever know is resting in God, exiting mind identification, exiting time. It's just thoughts. The you who thinks is a thought. It's not real. The you with a past and future is a thought. It's not there. You are this. This is what rests in God. And this is what all your brothers are with you. This is what forgiveness is for. This is the solution to all the problems you think you have, because you can't have problems here. Only in your virtual reality world made of thoughts. You're never anything but this. Forgive the fear, the outside ring of fear. Let's take that quote. I told you, you are this presence that's shining in your mind right now. Stay there. Just stay here. You'll notice the antsiness. You'll notice the part that gets annoyed with me. You'll notice the part that wants to jump into thoughts and think about it and go unconscious. So here's what the Course says. God can bring you there if you are willing to follow the Holy Spirit through seeming terror, trusting Him not to abandon you and leave you there. There is not His purpose to frighten you, but only yours. This is your egoic defenses against your separateness. You are severely tempted to abandon Him, this presence that is the truth of who you are and what everyone is, the Holy Spirit. You are severely tempted to abandon Him at the outside ring of fear, but He would lead you safely through and from beyond. Be here, stay here, live from here. Forget about thoughts. They've never done anything for you. Just practice being here. And if there's fear, if there's antsiness, if thoughts are trying to talk you out of it, going, you know something, you're not really that interested in spirituality. You should take up knitting. That'd be a much better thing for you to do with your time. This is where the ego that's what it means when the Course says the ego gets vicious. He's saying to you, why is he going on about this? We don't need to be going on about this. He's talked about it enough. Are you with the fear? Stay here. Live from here. Force only makes sense from here. Guidance is from here. Healing is from here. Forgiveness is from here. Seeing your brother as yourself is from here. Undoing the ego is from here. This is who you are. When you jump into thinking you're thinking and lose your identity to it, that's ego. That's not who you are. You're not that. And your brother is not that. The self you make for yourself out of thoughts and thinking you're thinking, that's not you. And the self you make up for your brother out of thoughts about his past and his future and what he's done and what he hasn't and that's not your brother. They're thoughts. Thoughts are obscuring the real world from you. But they have no power over you when you rest in God. And they cannot veil your brother from you when you rest in God. And they cannot keep you from awakening when you rest in God. Stay here. Stay here. Forget about identifying with thoughts. Stay here. You don't need them. When you find yourself back identifying with them, come back here. This is who you are. You're not a self made of thoughts. Eli, how did you get on with that? Linda, can you unmute Eli? Or invite her. Thank you.
So the question is, how did I get on with that?
Mm-hmm.
I find when I sit back and I was resting in God, it's nothing. Like
It's
you
nothing.
rest,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
rest in nothing, but with that, like it's everything, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it is.
It's everything and
Yes, it
nothing.
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in all of that, there's only beauty. Like a peace, beauty, love, whatever you want to call it. It's like a one nothingness.
Yeah. Yeah. And nobody in the nothingness and nothing outside of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. The feeling I had was, I want to practice this all the time. And practice doesn't even seem like the right word.
It's not
Um,
remember. Remember what you are is the right word.
yeah. Yeah.
Remember what you are and live from here. Don't get involved in thoughts. That's only going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I want to say thank you for bringing that
Good.
up.
And
Yeah. Thank you.
so, and you see, you say that now thinking, gosh, this is wonderful. But you've no idea what's ahead. If you live from here, um, the whole virtual reality world, the whole house of cards made of thoughts starts to collapse. Um, that's tricky to talk about. Um, I was walking home from doing the shopping with my husband today, and I had only thought yesterday when I was walking back from the gym. It just struck me I must look like a lunatic to the cars that are driving by. But I was walking home from doing the shopping with my husband, and we weren't talking at that particular point in time. And I was doing this thing with my hands. Um, And I noticed out of the corner of my eye him going, what the hell is he doing, the lunatic? Um, and so I kind of went, oh, right, I was right. Everyone thinks I'm a lunatic. But I do that because when you learn to live from here, when you don't get involved in thoughts, when you exit them, when you realize that you're mixed up with them, um, when you live from here, when you stay here, and just come home here when you're not, you'll know you're not here because you'll think you're suffering. You'll think you've problems. You'll think time has power over you. Just exit thoughts. Come home here to who you are and live from here and watch what happens. Watch, watch what happens to the world you thought was here, the way it collapses and what shows itself to be here. Um, so the reason I'm doing that with my hands is because there's because when thought has no power over you, when you've stopped giving it power over you, um, all the filters of here and there, me and you, self and other, um, they all just fall away. They're just beliefs. They're just thoughts. And the minute they fall away, the world is not what you thought it was. Um, and so I could go on a walk for an hour just watching hands and the entire area, everything that's in the locality, everything is one and it's all love. Now there's no me and love, there's just love everywhere. There's just love. Um, but don't go chasing that as an experience. Okay. Rest in God. That will reveal itself to you. Nearly as often as the Course says, I'm not a body, I'm free, I'm still as God created me, it says, God is but love, and therefore so am I. That's literal. There is no separate self. There is no you, the person. There's not even you presence, but that's a temporary thing that's helpful. You are love. That's it. There is no self apart from that. There is only love. The self that seems to exist independent of that, that would go looking for it, that would go chasing it, it's a thought. It's not you. You're love. That's the truth. And that is a visceral, knowable, completely undoubtable experience that you can know if you stay here and rest in God. Resting in God is not a prayer. It's not a little something that you do and go, that was nice. Let me go back into the insanity of thinking with a past and a future and the me and the you and a terrifying future and a guilty past. And no, what would you do that for? That's all thoughts have ever given you. Awakening is awakening from identification with thoughts. That's what it's about. Now, the fear of God, you're going to encounter it. It's going to make you antsy. It's going to make you go, I should really go for a walk. That would be a much more productive thing to do. Um, you see, they're just thoughts. They're nothing. Don't believe your thoughts. They're just thoughts. But don't fight them. You have to forgive them. And that eliminates all their power over you. Go rest in God. Just live from here. When you think you're thinking, come home and stay here. Live from here. That's what A Course in Miracles is teaching. Enough of the baby business. Enough of the baby business. This is what A Course in Miracles is teaching. Let's do it. Stay here. Thanks, Eli. Mary Straub. Linda, could you invite Mary to take herself off mute?
Okay, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Keith.
How did you get on?
Wow. 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 That was you I just have to say you've been my Holy Spirit character today. Um, because it's like this is all the questions that I had, and one of them was about, can you tell me about the ring of fear? And when you said it, I just went, ah, oh my gosh, he's talking to me. I just feel like what I need is given.
Mhm.
And yeah, because I wanted help with the ring of fear because I am hitting the ring of fear, and there's anxiety, restlessness, anxiousness. You explained it all. And so I think you've already given me that. The one thing that I'm feeling is um, the rest in God um, is possible when I'm holding on the hand on. It's like I'm holding the hand of Jesus and saying, um, "Rest with me and stay." And I'm hearing him saying, "Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me," because the Mary character wants to push down any emotions that are coming up or fears or pain and say, no, I can't go there because I'm resting in God. But what I'm really hearing and feeling with more and more is, no, I can rest in God
Yes,
the amidst these things. And that's the key to getting through the ring of
crucial.
fear, is let them be what they be
Yeah,
and still hold on to the hand of Jesus and rest there.
yeah. And that's why the quote that we started with today, the other way is remaining quiet, even in the midst
Yes,
of the turmoil your ego is going to make.
exactly.
Okay.
That's
So
my answer. Thank
yeah,
you. Mm,
you rest in God in the middle of that.
yeah,
And you're just totally forgiving, allowing, permitting. The minute you do that, you feel it's like we're fueling all of our fear um by by fearing it, by
exactly.
fighting it, by making it real, by going to war with it and pushing it down and pushing it away. But the minute you forgive it and give it permission to be here, you rest in God in the middle of it, and it will not stand against you who rest in God.
Yeah, and it's when you gave me this beautiful response to what that I'm feeling within when this happens is, so what? What does that have to do with me?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
have chills. It's like
Yeah.
this
And
is
and that doesn't it's very important we don't understand that to be spiritual bypassing. We're not saying I'm going to chill out here and forget about all that other stuff in the other mind. That's not what we're saying. That's
just,
spiritual bypassing.
thank you.
Um, because we don't rest in God by running from darkness. We rest in God by forgiving the darkness,
Yeah,
by giving it permission to be here, by ending the fight, by the end of pushing and pulling. That's how
yeah,
we rest in God. Forgiveness is how we rest in God. We don't rest in God to get away from the darkness. It's the forgiveness of the darkness that causes us to rest in God in the middle of the darkness, and the darkness will not stand.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
beautiful.
Mm.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you so much.
Now, Zoom user, I can't remember your first name again. I normally have prompts with the name. Linda, do you want to take Zoom
Yes.
user of use and remind me what's your first name again?
Did you get that?
She may not realize we're. Yep. Can you take yourself off mute? What was her name, Linda?
Zoom user?
Yeah, I don't remember either. Not to worry. Let's move on. Well, she might realize we're talking about her in a second. Shall we go to Marcy?
Marcy.
Would you
Okay.
give Marcy an invite?
Okay, Marcy, did you see it?
Yeah. How'd you get on, Marcy?
Um, well, I can just tell you that it was very similar to our meeting that you and I had, which was I was grateful for.
Yeah.
And this morning I was a little bit reactive to something. And so,
Yeah.
so when that happens, it's not quite where we're at, but I have to remove myself from the situation. Or like
Yeah.
on that TV show, call a friend. I just go somewhere else and then I can pull it a little bit more together. So while
Yeah.
you were speaking today, I was able to get to, I don't even want to say the word I. There was peace and then there was some antsiness. So I kind of vacillated throughout the whole thing like I did in our session
Yeah.
with the
Good.
peace and the antsiness.
Yeah. And that's normal. That's normal in the beginning. Okay. That's normal for quite a while. And, even when you learn to live from here, no longer getting involved in thoughts, that doesn't mean it's the end of reactivity.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean it's the end of suffering. It doesn't mean it's the end of argument with the world. That's still going to go on in the other mind. Okay. Now there's no when you learn to live from here, you realize there's no such thing as a separate self. What I thought I was completely made out of thoughts. This is beautiful because this kind of is the end of fear. Um, and all you have to do is stay here. And it's the end of fear. Um, certainly there could be no fear of death because there's nothing here to die. It was made out of thoughts. Course says what dies was never living in reality and but mocks the truth of me. It's a story, it's a thought. What is here is birthless and deathless, this present, what rests in God. Living from here would be the end of fear. Or certainly if we get involved and fear comes up, coming back here, the fear is undone, always. Um, but even when you live here, even when thoughts don't drag you into unconscious anymore, even when there's no belief in a separate self, even when you're here, it's not the end of reactivity. And so your only job is to bring all the antsiness, all the restlessness, all the pain, all the anger, all the hatred, all the shame, to bring it before what rests in God. That's your only job. That's it. Nothing else. You rest in God in the midst of the turmoil your ego is making. And that will begin dissolving it.
Okay. The image that I've been looking at lately when that reactivity does happen, or when I'm thinking about what my homework is with you,
Yeah,
is in the beginning of the movie The Little Buddha,
yeah,
where Buddha's sitting under the tree and everything's swirling all around,
yeah,
and yet there's peace.
yeah. Resting in God in the midst of the lunacy of the wrong mind. That's what that scene is about, and
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about.
yeah.
And stay here, and you get back here by realizing you can only be here, and forgiveness will show you that every time. If you look at antsiness and reactivity and go, this is a bad thing and I'm failing the course, that won't take you back. Okay. But if
Yeah,
you look at everything the mind that pretends to be you is doing and you totally forgive it, if you stop pushing and pulling on it, if you give up the fight, if you look without judgment, without a label about what you're looking at, the ego can't do that. You're home in God. Stay here. Stay here.
thank you.
Yeah. Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Marcy. Tanya, um, Linda will send you an invite to unmute yourself.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you as always. When I'm sort of home alone listening to you, I follow along so well, and I'm even experiencing what you're talking about, and then almost, and I'm just wondering, looking for some pro tips about it. Just is so much harder when I do anything, especially outside I mean, I do even get my thoughts get thrown off, but usually I can get back on track easier. But when I'm outside and especially interacting with people, I just have the hardest time. If I'm even lucky enough to remember this idea, it's almost just an idea. It is so hard for me to get back to the stillness, and it takes it usually just takes a really long time. Sometimes I just doesn't take, for days even. Any pro tips for?
Yeah. First of all, that's normal. So there's nothing weird about that whatsoever. That's normal. Okay, so that's the first thing. What I will say, and I've said this for years, is don't be trying to go resting in God in the middle of a crap show.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't be waiting till the neighbor kicks the cat or until, do you know what I mean? The kids break the window, or don't be doing that. Um, live from here. Live from here. And when you can practice living from here, this is where it's at. Everything else is fantasy, and it's painful fantasy. It's dissatisfying fantasy. It is insecurity fantasy. It is a world of made up problems, thinking you are an illusion of yourself fantasy. It's not fun. Getting involved in thoughts, it has done nothing for us. It is ridiculous. And we need to learn to live from this space where thinking isn't necessary. Now, of course, thoughts will tell you, how could you have a conversation? How could you look after the family? How could you do your work? Watch. Watch. Watch how beautifully all of that happens from silence, from presence.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to get involved in thoughts at all. So the first thing I'm going to say is your experience is not unusual, but it is what new students tend to do, where they go, well, I'm not that happy as an ego, but I have this Course in Miracles that I can use as a band-aid when things go to hell, and it might just kind of sort me out as an ego, and I can go back to my life as an ego, and it's all going to be fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll use the next band-aid when I need it, the miracle. That's not what A Course in Miracles is teaching. Course in Miracles is saying, listen, you've lived in a virtual reality, hell, private world made out of thoughts from you were 2 years old until you're today years old.
Right.
And that doesn't have to continue anymore. Now is the time for awakening from that. And that doesn't mean you wait until you're interacting with people and blah, 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 and politics comes up and blah, blah, blah. No, do that now. Make a commitment. Make a commitment now that you will live from presence, that you will rest in God. And when you notice you're not here, you'll come back.
Yes, Keith. Like right now I'm feeling still pretty connected, but like knowing I'm going to be going out later to meet someone, I'm just already can see how it happens every time. I just you're planning to have the problem again. Now, come here. I'm going to go out and I'm going to have this problem again. What is that? That's an idea that keeps me stuck.
So is that thought you, or
No.
are you the one that is witness to that thought?
Right, the witness to that thought. I am the witness. Yes.
And this one that rests in God, does it have to try to be itself?
No.
Can it not be itself?
No.
Can it be anything other than what it is?
No.
The only mistake you can make is thinking you're thinking.
That's right.
Okay, so you see, we only need to become vigilant to the fact that thoughts don't mean anything. Everything they say is a virtual reality world they're trying to construct, where there's a you and there's a me and there's a me and there's a God and there's good people and bad people and good, and this is a good subject and it's a bad subject and people should do this and people shouldn't do that. Okay, don't believe one of your thoughts. If you believe one thought, it will pull you into a thought stream of thinking that you're thinking and unconsciousness, but you'll know. Suffering will alert you to the fact that you're not resting in God. And you can come back so easily. All you have to do is but you must totally and completely forgive the error of thinking you're an ego. That's all. Because the ego can't forgive that. The ego can't do that. The ego
Right.
cannot look at anything without an opinion on it,
Yes.
without fixating, without calling it right or wrong or good or bad or okay. The minute all you ever do is witness the entire show that the mind is putting on that's pretending to be you, and you give up the fight. You totally forgive it. You let it be exactly what it is and you do nothing. And you're home. You're home. And maybe it's going to take a time for this show the mind is putting on. It's like you've spun the wheel and it's going to go for a while before it stops. Okay. The
Mhm.
wheel got spun, but it's going to go for a while. But you just witnessed that without any stories about it, without putting a label on it. You just surrender to what's happening and you're resting in God.
Mm.
You are quiet in the midst of the turmoil the ego that pretends to be you is making. Well, that's all that's required because that spinning wheel will stop.
Yes.
So again, forgiveness brings you home to yourself every time. Don't worry if the wheel has to spin for a while until it runs out of inertia. That's fine.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Keith.
My pleasure. Um,
Zoom user unmuted herself.
very good. Remind us what's your first name again. We couldn't remember.
Hi, I'm Kathy.
Kathy, that's what it was. Kathy, how did you get on?
I felt a cross between laughing and crying,
Yes.
and it's still with me. It's just
Good.
like this beautifully overwhelming,
Yes.
releasing,
Yes.
connecting,
Yes.
peaceful, joyous feeling.
Yeah. It's always here. It's never absent. It's covered over by identifying with thoughts and thinking you're thinking. It's always here. So the relief that we feel very much has to do with when you're here, you've let all your guilt go. That's the relief. That's the feeling of unburdened and like a weight is lifted and you've let all the guilt go when you rest here. And it's love, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is.
It's love. There's
Yeah.
no lover and there's no beloved. There's just love. That's what's here. That's all that's ever here. It's obscured by the activity of the mind. The mind imagines there's something else, that there's a coming and there's a going, and projects it onto the love that's here. But there's only love here. Everything else is just thoughts. And even the thoughts are made out of love. But when we identify with them, it veils love from itself. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Linda, would you invite Marie to take herself off mute?
And Marie?
Hi.
Hi, Marie.
Hi, Keith. Marie from Sweden. Hi.
Sweden. How did you get on?
Yeah, it was quite an experience.
Yeah,
I
and don't turn it into an experience. It was who you are. Don't
okay.
let your mind talk you into the fact that you had an experience, that you had a spiritual experience. No, you didn't. You tasted the truth of what you are. That's always here. So sorry for interrupting you, but that's important. You go ahead, Marie.
Yeah, so thank you for helping me with that. I was noticing a pain in one in the leg, and the leg was moving like this, and there was this pain. I was just witnessing and listening to you, and then there was this tiredness, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to sleep now. But I was just noticing the tiredness, but just noticing and listening. And I think that there was a moment where it was like, and then coming back again.
Yeah.
And now it's just alertness. It's
Yes.
gone. Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. These are just the mind's defenses. So when you're withdrawing your allegiance to the ego's virtual reality world, the matrix of separateness, and body identity and thought identity, when you begin undoing your allegiance with that, it's like red alert, shields up. That's what happens in the mind. It's like, do not go to the silence. Do not go to the field outside of thoughts. You must come back. Pay attention to this pain in your leg. Look how tired you are. Look at this yawning that you're doing. You should really have a nap. You can do this later. That's what thoughts are going to do. That's just the ego becoming vicious. This is perfectly normal. The fear that we're talking about needs to be acknowledged, the fear of staying here. It's just the mind's defense. Now, even when we talk about this fear, this outside ring of fear that makes us want to jump like a scalded cat back into thoughts, or to give in to the tiredness, or to sort of like have thoughts about the pain, even this fear, it really only needs to be forgiven. We really only need to sit in the middle of this fear with no thoughts about it and no judgment of it, not for very long. If you were to do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you would cross over a boundary where it will change what identity means to you forever. So I would say, whatever defenses the mind comes up with, your only task is total forgiveness of them, not engaging with them, not going to war with them, forgiveness of them, because whatever you forgive loses all power over you. So they will be that would be very normal experiences, Marie. And just one question: when the sensation is there in the leg, can it be a problem if you don't call it one?
No.
Yeah. Could there be suffering if you don't have thoughts about it?
No.
Yeah, it's just what is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Thanks,
Yeah.
Marie.
Thank you. And I love the way when you spoke about just watching the lunatic of the mind trying to
Yes.
be me. I just
Yeah.
love that, because I have it happens a lot of time just watching it, noticing
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah. Because we have
Thank
two minds, and one of them is totally insane, and then the other one is completely sane. And so all we have to do is be that which witnesses the insane mind with no judgment. We come home to this the minute we practice non-judgment. The minute we witness the wrong mind without judgment, without a label, without calling it bad, without having an opinion on it, just let it be, witness it without thoughts about it, you are the right mind, because the wrong mind can't do that. And
Yeah.
so we can be the right mind in the middle of the wrong mind. And the wrong mind's nonsense cannot stand against what you are.
Yeah, and what I notice, there is a thought, I believe, that lunatic mind should disappear, and then
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a grievance. So that's going in the wrong direction. So it's just to recognize, well, there is this thought here that says the mind needs to be different for me to be who I already am. So what would you be if that thought wasn't there?
I would just witnessing what was watching I would just witness.
Yeah. You would be where
Yeah.
you want to be. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's learning not to believe any thoughts. They all try to construct the ego's reality for you, to say that you're limited and lacking, that you're not getting this, that you'll never get this, that other people are getting this and you're not. And so thoughts are constructing this reality. You just have to notice them and go, that's just a thought. What if that thought isn't here? And every time we say that, the truth of you is already here. The thought was just trying to make you think you were somewhere else and that you had to get to the truth. But you get to the truth by realizing you're already here, by seeing through thoughts. They're just tricks. Yeah. Because we'll only ever get here by realizing we're already here. We only ever find the stillness that's already here. We cannot go looking for a stillness. We must find the stillness that's already here. And that's just simply by forgiving the activity of the mind that pretends to be you. And peace comes, presence comes to tell you of what you are and what everyone is, because everyone is this. Everything else is just the ego's thoughts, the virtual reality world that's not here. Beautiful. Thank you very much for that, Marie.
Thank you.
So would you take Jacqueline, give her the invite, Linda? And is there anything we need to do in the chat box?
There's one question in the chat box.
We'll draw a line under it then. We'll have Jacqueline, and then we'll take our question in the chat box, and we'll draw a line under it for today. Thanks, Linda. Jacqueline,
Okay.
how did you get on?
Well, I have no idea how I got on. I've been
That's
struggling
good.
with.
That's good. Don't be listening to your thoughts.
Yes, yes. Oh my God, I stumbled onto this. I've been wanting to join live for quite some time, and my thinking. But today I didn't think, and I said, I'm going to just give it a try. And here I am. And I'm so grateful to have heard your message today. I mean, I can't describe the feelings and the laughing. Like, I think I'll
Yeah.
take up knitting. That was really good. That was really good. I think I'll take up knitting. That'll help, anything but be still and stop
Yes.
thinking, and the fear that comes up in me when I do it, and I'm there in the stillness. The fear is just, I feel like, okay, they're going to send me to a mental hospital because
Yeah.
I'm not being an ego anymore. And
Yeah.
then the way I am with my kids, and people are falling away out of my life.
Yes.
It's wild. It's
It
just
is.
wild.
And it's
Yes.
funny, the ego is so unoriginal because everyone's mind does the same thing.
Right.
It's totally unoriginal. Yeah.
Totally the same nonsense. Nothing
Yeah.
is blinding as form, right?
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
is as blinding as form. And this veil of forgetfulness. It's just, how did this happen? That's what I just keep, again, another thought.
Yeah.
Why
It
is
never
all
happened.
of
It
mankind?
never happened. It never
Yeah, but
happened.
why are we all stuck here then?
You're
If it
not.
never
You're not. You're not. You're not. There's
Okay.
nothing here. There's images here.
Yes,
There's no
the appearance. Right.
you here.
Right. So what if I were to say, okay, I'm just going to throw myself off of this balcony right now because I'm not really here anyway? That wouldn't do anything, would it?
Wouldn't do anything to what you are.
Right, it wouldn't. And then would I have to come back here to keep learning how to be still?
You see, you still think there's a you that comes here and a you that goes somewhere else and a you that comes back. None of that's true. That's all thoughts. That's part of
Right.
your virtual reality world made out of concepts. But what if
Okay.
there's no concepts?
I would love that.
Well, what if now?
What if now?
What if there's no
feel
concepts?
that. I feel
You can
love.
only,
I
yes.
feel only love, right? And
Yes, because there's nothing else
get it.
here.
Correct. And I
Yes.
do get that feeling. So I know that it is the truth. Only the
But
truth is
For
true.
now, and this is normal, you
Right.
still think there's a you that is aware of the love.
Ah,
There's
okay.
not. There's only love. Okay. So that's where that's where, now again, this is normal, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
again, the Course in Miracles says through him, the Holy Spirit, which is the presence that's everyone, through him, you
Yeah.
learn how to forgive the self you think you made and let it disappear.
Mm. Mhm.
Not become ascended, not
Right.
become enlightened,
No,
not
I know.
go reincarnating,
No,
not
I
like
know.
attain anything. You
Right.
realize it's not there. by forgiveness.
Wow.
Now, you don't have to do anything except forgive the self you think is here. Forgive the me you think is here, because there's no me. There is the light of the world, which is shining everywhere. And there's no self apart from that to have an opinion on it or to call it an experience.
Right.
You are that light everywhere, except that in that light, there is no identity structure going, I am the light. That's a thought. Okay. Outside
Right.
of thoughts, there is only the light of being. The real world is where literally the Holy Spirit is the world and the world is the Holy Spirit. It's the real world.
What about this thought of, okay, I'm going to practice not being in thought? Isn't that a thought?
It is, but what you are that you're talking about remembering, that's not a thought. Okay? That's not a thought. Now, I don't want to demonize thought. Thought isn't the problem. The problem is identification with thought, thinking you're thinking. When you learn how to live from here, and again, I want to remind everyone here today, I'm telling you now, you live from here. And when you're not here, when you think you're not here, because you can only be here, when you're deluded that you're not here, come home to the truth of what you are. That's what A Course in Miracles is teaching. All right, live from here. So when you, there was something you said that I was answering and it's gone from my mind. Maybe it's meant to be gone from my mind. Do you have anything to jog my memory, Jacqueline? There was a point I was talking
when
about there.
Yes, but when I think, I'm not thinking. When I'm thinking, okay, I'm in the stillness, that's still a thought.
It is. That's still a thought. That would still imply that there's a you in stillness. There's not.
Right.
There's
So,
just stillness.
Right.
So that's just a thought. So what are you if there's no thought that I am in the stillness? If that thought's not there, there's only
existence. There's only light. There's only love. Only the peace that passes over all. But I feel like I'm gonna, like, here we go with I'm the me, this fear. Okay, the fear of
that's perfect. You've got to look. We made up sin, guilt, and fear to prove to make it seem more believable that there really was a separate self. There is no separate self, and that's why if you look in your mind for fear, you will find it. But if you're looking for the one who's afraid, you will never find anyone.
Look for the one who's afraid. That's the key. You said that before.
Yeah. Now be careful, because again, the mind is the trickster here. You will go and, is there a fear in my mind? You will go, yes, there's fear here. Then you will go, let me find the one who is afraid. And thoughts will jump in and go, me. Okay, but me is a thought. Okay?
And the conundrum.
So you go looking and go, who does the me thought refer to?
Right.
And all you will find is what rests in God, presence, stillness. You will never find anything the me thought refers to, because since we were 2 years old, me has been the most important concept ever. Me.
It's the autonomy stage of development, age
now,
2.
And the extraordinary thing is that when you go and investigate this massive concept of a me, and you touch it, it's thin cardboard. It's a concept that stands for something that's not there.
It's wild.
There's nothing there. When you go and investigate this me, the me that suffers, the me that thinks, the me that is in fear, and you go looking, well, let's have a look. To whom does this me thought refer? Let me look for what it refers to. There's nothing there.
Yeah, it's wild.
And what do you think happens to fear when it's clearly seen there's nobody
For what
there?
it is.
it
Right. Well,
belongs.
then that's the light, the love, the pure, changeless, formless, this miracle
Yeah.
that we are
The fear
will
can't stand.
occur. Right.
Yeah.
The fear of
The
perfect
fear
love
can't
out.
stand without a me on
Right.
whose behalf it can hang around,
That's
without
it.
me that it can stick to. So
Yeah.
the thing is, when you go looking for what does the me refer to, you realize there's nothing here but what's looking, and there's no fear here.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
now
beautiful.
the fear can't stand.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Mm-hmm.
It is beautiful. I
It,
think it's the most beautiful thing about this entire process is that
yeah.
this ego that causes us so much trouble, this
Pain.
me
Yeah.
us that wrecks everything. I think
Right.
it's beautiful that if you go looking for, let me find the one who suffers, let me
Mm-hmm.
find the one that's thinking, let me find the me that is an innocent victim. Um, there's nothing there.
There's not.
There's only the piece of what you are.
I love that.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's good. That's such a
Thanks.
relief.
It
Okay.
is.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks a
Really good.
million, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Right, let's take our chat box question, Linda, and we'll call it a day.
Okay. This is from Rochelle R. If resting in God is not a prayer, is it incorrect to say petitionary prayer? Because if one is asking something from God, then one forgets he's already perfect love. Question.
Yeah. Ultimately, this is the theme of the prayer section of the Song of Prayer. It says that whilst you think you are a separate self made out of thoughts that has a past and that has a future, petitioning prayer seems to make sense. And the Song of Prayer makes the point that when it comes to petitioning prayer, we don't know any better. So this is where we start off on the ladder, is with petitioning prayer. But it's such a beautiful section, and again, I love the Song of Prayer, and the prayer section is so lovely. But what it does is it says, listen, you don't want to stay here with your petitioning prayer. Um, True prayer has nothing to do with petitioning and asking, Jesus or the Holy Spirit or God, like Santa Claus, for the things that you need and you want and that you want to have delivered to you. Um, you know, that's at least you're on the right ladder. Okay, at least you've chosen the right teacher, but you want to get off this wrong as quick as you can. And you need to understand that the whole message of the Song of Prayer section is that prayer is joining. Prayer has nothing to do with petitioning. Again, it's where we all start, but as soon as you can, you want to get off that rung and onto the next rung and understand. Prayer is joining. Because when you rest in God, when you come to this field outside of right ideas of right and wrong and good and bad and holy and unholy, when you come to this space, which is what you are, this is what everyone is. So not only are you one with the Holy Spirit, which is just the symbol of the truth of everyone within the dream, not only are you one with the Holy Spirit, but from here you are one with everyone. You know what everything and everyone is. Where's the problems? What do I need to ask for from here? I know I rest in God and all is well. And everywhere I look, all my brothers rest in God. Maybe they don't know that, but it doesn't change the fact that they rest in God. What dies was never living in reality and but mocks the truth of myself. Nothing that's dying is the Son of God. Nothing that's being born is the Son of God. But the Son of God is appearing as all of it. This presence, what rests in God. This is the truth of everything and everyone. So there's nothing to ask for. Ultimately, prayer, the best prayer you can say is praying to know there's nothing to pray for. And the answering of that prayer is resting in God. So so again, we all start off with petitioning prayer, but the problem with it is that it is It reinforces the idea that you are a thinker of thoughts that has a problem that needs the problem solved. So it's very unsatisfactory because you don't have any problems. Course in Miracles says you have no problems, though you think you do. But what has anything got to do with the peace of the Holy Spirit in your mind, you who rest in God and know what all your brothers are? There's no problems here. When you think there's a problem, you're insane. You don't know you rest in God. You think you are a thinker of the ego's thoughts, the thought system of separateness, and you believe in time. All problems require time, but time is thought. So you need to surrender. We don't want to be standing in front of the world going, Holy Spirit, if you could just change this around in the world, and if you could shift this around in the world, and if you could just manipulate these illusions for me, that'd be fabulous. That would bring me happiness. No, because it won't, because the ego can't be happy. You think you're an ego because you think your happiness is dependent on what's happening in the world. That's not the message of today's readings. You rest in God in the midst of the world's turmoil. You don't need to change anything because none of it touches the truth of what you are. And when you touch home here, you see that in your brothers and they see it in you, and it calls them to their rest in their mind. It begins undoing the power thought has over them. It begins calling them back to the field beyond ideas of right and wrong and good and bad. So that's what we're talking about. Ultimately, the Course says, seek not to change the world, but seek to change your mind about the world. So petitioning prayer and like, well, I'd like to change this bit of the world and I'd like to change that bit of the world. No, that's insane. Because the only purpose the world has is forgiveness. Whatever's happening in this moment couldn't be any different. It is absolutely perfect for you to learn how to rest in God and undo whatever guilt is getting projected onto what is happening perfectly for this forgiveness process at this moment. Nothing could ever be different than it is. Nothing could ever be working out better than it is at this moment, because the only purpose the world has is forgiveness, is teaching you to rest in God and dissolve all the blocks to the awareness of love's presence in your mind. The world has no other purpose than that. So again, we all start off on that bottom rung, thinking if I can just fiddle with the illusions, I can just rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic, that is the ego's dead world of thoughts, that will finally bring me salvation, or it will bring my brother salvation, and it won't. Only resting in God will. And from here, whatever the Course says, the real world is the state of mind where the only purpose of the world is seen to be forgiveness. Everything is already perfect, absolutely precision perfect as your next step out of hell and home to heaven through forgiveness. That's all the world is for. It's not for making you happy. It will never do that. And it's not for blaming for your unhappiness, because it's not to blame for your unhappiness. Your happiness or unhappiness is solely down to whether you are resting in God or resting in thoughts and the ego's virtual reality world. That's the only thing that will ever establish happiness or unhappiness. So I hope that answers the question. Guys, thanks a million for your attention today. We will catch up in the Facebook group during the week, and we will do it all again next week. Thanks a million.